Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and distill the most compelling insights from your sources, helping you get informed quickly and thoroughly.
That's right.
Today, we're tackling a fiercely debated question surrounding one of hip-hop's most legendary and, well, polarizing groups.
Yeah, definitely polarizing.
Did they truly bring destruction to the genre, or were they, as some argue, simply holding a mirror up to society?
And we've been provided with some really fascinating material here. We've got direct statements from Ice Cube himself, and a pretty comprehensive analysis of N.W.A.'s cultural footprint.
Okay.
So our mission today is to unpack this specific claim that N.W.A. brought destruction to hip-hop
Right.
and explore the incredibly multifaceted impact they actually had. Not just on the genre, but, broader society too.
So if you've ever debated N.W.A.'s true influence, maybe you think they were destructive, maybe revolutionary, then today's deep dive is definitely for you. We're getting to the bottom of a specific claim that's been circulating, especially in hip-hop circles, and Ice Cube's direct rebuttal. So let's just get right into it.
Okay.
The conversation really ignited recently. Late September 2023, rapper Ice Cube took to his X account, formerly Twitter,
Right.
and he directly challenged a fan's assertion that N.W.A. was solely responsible for, ushering in trouble for hip-hop back in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, and this specific claim, it really echoed comments made earlier by Special Ed,
Okay.
who was on the Drink Champs podcast. And Special Ed basically stated that N.W.A.'s hardcore music led to a kind of bandwagon effect.
A bandwagon.
Yeah, and cloning within
Yeah.
the genre. He felt it ultimately ushered in what he called the age of destruction.
Wow, the age of destruction. That's a heavy term.
It is. And he also added, interestingly, that record labels back then preferred commercial music over his own hard shit, was his phrase.
Hmm.
So suggesting maybe a commercial dynamic at play there, too.
Okay, so Special Ed is largely attributing this supposed destruction directly to N.W.A.'s musical influence, their sound.
Pretty much, yeah.
But what did the sources reveal about Ice Cube's perspective? Because, he didn't exactly hold back, did he?
Not at all. No, Ice Cube's rebuttal was succinct and powerful. He called the claim beat,
Right. Straight to the point.
which, certainly gets your attention.
Yeah.
But his reasoning went much deeper than just like a dismissal.
And that's what really stands out from the sources here. When I first read his response, especially that bit about, crack and gangs being present before N.W.A., it really challenged the conventional narrative for me. Can you maybe unpack the significance of that specific historical context he brings up?
Absolutely, because Ice Cube's core argument was that these negative elements people attribute to N.W.A., well, they were already deeply ingrained in society long before their music even emerged.
Okay.
He stated, and I'm quoting him directly here from the source, crack was in the neighborhoods a decade before gangster rap.
A decade?
Yeah. In the 70s, they called it freebase. So it was heroin sick, weed, mollies, gang-banging, drive-bys, pimping and hoeing, dropping out of schools, young girls getting pregnant, cussing, and using the word nah. It was all here before N.W.A.
Wow. So he's painting a picture of the existing reality.
Exactly. What this really reveals, I think, is the profound difference between portrayal and promotion.
Ah, good distinction.
Ice Cube is arguing N.W.A. wasn't introducing destruction, they were reflecting realities that already existed. Maybe amplifying their starkness, yes.
Why?
You could almost say their controversy wasn't a bug. It was, in many ways, the very engine of their cultural impact. It forced conversations that, mainstream society had actively tried to suppress.
That's a crucial distinction he's making there, positioning N.W.A. as a mirror, not the origin of these issues. But I guess for those who saw the rise of gangster rap as a negative force, was it purely reflection, or did the very act of amplifying these realities maybe contribute to their normalization or even glamorization for some listeners?
That's a really important question, and it's definitely one that the sources grapple with.
Okay.
Because if we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes, well, abundantly clear that N.W.A.'s impact on hip-hop and culture is way more complex than just a simple narrative of destruction.
Yeah.
While their music was certainly highly controversial, sparked intense debate, it also profoundly shaped the genre in revolutionary ways.
And like you said, this wasn't happening in a vacuum. N.W.A. emerged during a time of really intense social and political tension.
Absolutely.
You had rising police brutality, the crack cocaine epidemic. These were major influences on their music.
The huge influences.
Their debut album, Straight Outta Compton, it's always called a landmark. But beyond just the raw lyrics, what was it about their sound, the production, what truly broke new ground and helped push gangsta rap nationally?
That's a great point. Because Straight Outta Compton wasn't just lyrically groundbreaking. The production, mainly from Dr. Dre and DJ Yella, it was revolutionary for its time.
Yeah, so?
Well, they expertly layered samples, these really heavy bass lines, stark drum beats. It created this dark, almost cinematic soundscape that just perfectly matched the lyrical content.
Right, the sound matched the words.
Exactly. They pushed the boundaries of what hip-hop could sound like, not just what it could say.
Okay.
This raw, explicit, often politically charged music didn't just document life in Compton, it kind of screamed it from the rooftops, you know.
Yeah, you felt it.
They tackled issues like police brutality, racial injustice head-on, no filter. Their focus was on storytelling, social commentary, using this vivid, uncompromising language, and a really clear, impactful delivery to emphasize their message. It's easy to forget now, but back then, this music wasn't just explicit. For many people, it was genuinely shocking.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like imagine being a parent in the late 80s hearing F-Thought Police maybe on the radio for the first time. That's the kind of visceral reaction N.W.A. provoked.
That visceral reaction really speaks to the power of their message, doesn't it? So it wasn't just about what they said, but how they crafted that whole sonic landscape around it.
Precisely.
Ultimately, then, the sources suggest N.W.A.'s influence is really multifaceted. It's not simply a matter of destruction.
Not at all.
But how does that deeper analysis, that complexity, inform their lasting legacy, their impact on artists who came after them?
Well, their influence is just undeniable. It continues to echo through hip-hop today. They didn't just create a subgenre, they essentially forged a blueprint.
A blueprint, okay.
Yeah, you can see it in subsequent generations of artists who keep exploring similar themes. Social injustice, street life, defiance. Often with a raw authenticity that you can trace right back to N.W.A. They challenged assumptions, you know, about what kind of stories belonged in music, what language was okay, what topics were off limits.
Wait, they broadened the scope.
Exactly. They broadened the scope of what hip-hop could be. They gave voice to previously unheard experiences and really paved the way for artists to speak their unvarnished truth.
Even if it was uncomfortable.
Especially if it was uncomfortable for the mainstream. That was almost the point.
This deep dive into N.W.A.'s legacy, it really highlights how art can both reflect and, well, profoundly influence society, sparking crucial, even if difficult, conversations along the way.
It really does, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it, when we analyze a cultural phenomenon, especially one as impactful as N.W.A., how much of what we perceive as new or maybe destructive is actually just a mirror?
Reflecting what's already there.
Yeah, reflecting existing societal issues, just amplified through the powerful lens of art.
And with that thought, we leave you to ponder that ongoing debate. Art reflecting reality versus art shaping it. We hope this deep dive has given you a richer, maybe more nuanced understanding of N.W.A.'s complex and truly enduring place in music history.